Right now, somewhere in your yard, a plant is growing that you have never been asked to water, never been asked to fertilize, and have probably been asked to remove. And if you pulled it out this morning without a second thought, you threw away food. Not just edible food in many cases, food more nutritious than anything sitting in your refrigerator right now. The plants most people spray, pull, curse, and discard every spring turn out to be some of the most studied, most historically significant, and most nutritionally dense edible plants on Earth. Greens that sell for premium prices at specialty grocers. Roots used in traditional medicine formulas for thousands of years. Seeds that health brands repackage and mark up by 400%. Today at Evergreen Home Living, we are walking through 10 common weeds that are actually food, what they look like, what they contain, and why the most valuable thing in your yard might be exactly what you have been trying to get rid of. Item 1. Dandelion, Taraxacum officinal. Start here, because nothing on this list has been more completely misunderstood, more aggressively attacked, or more extravagantly rewarded for the people who finally stopped fighting it. Dandelion is not a weed in any meaningful botanical sense. It is a highly evolved perennial food plant that humans cultivated and ate for thousands of years before the invention of the perfect green lawn gave us a reason to hate it. Every part is edible. Young spring leaves, harvested before flowering, contain more beta-carotene than carrots, more calcium than milk by weight, and more iron than spinach. French and Italian restaurants serve them without apology. The roots, roasted and ground, produce a caffeine-free coffee substitute used across Europe through every major wartime shortage in history. The flowers make a golden syrup called dandelion honey that sells at artisan markets for prices that would surprise anyone who spent last Saturday trying to kill the same plant in their lawn. Item 2. Stinging nettle urtkaioica. The reputation is entirely deserved and the nutritional payoff is entirely worth it. Stinging nettle contains up to 25% protein by dry weight, extraordinary for a leafy green, alongside exceptional concentrations of iron, calcium, magnesium, and vitamins A, C, and K. Medieval European peasants relied on nettle soup each spring as a primary iron source after months of depleted winter stores. Roman soldiers stationed in cold northern Britain rubbed nettles on their skin to stimulate circulation, a practice called urtication used medicinally for joint pain for centuries afterward. The sting is completely neutralized by 30 seconds of blanching. After that, nettle behaves exactly like spinach and significantly outperforms it in every nutritional category. Nettle tea sells at health food stores for prices that seem genuinely absurd to anyone standing next to a thriving patch growing freely and unasked along their back fence. Item 3. Purslane, Portulaca oleracea. Low to the ground and spreading its succulent reddish stems across bare soil and garden beds in the heat of summer, purslane is the most nutritionally significant plant most Western gardeners have never eaten, and one of the most eaten vegetables in the rest of the world. In Mexico, Greece, Turkey, and across the Middle East, it is a crop sold in market bunches and dressed with olive oil and lemon. What makes it genuinely extraordinary is its omega-3 fatty acid content. More alpha-linolenic acid than any other leafy green ever measured, 5 times the omega-3 of spinach. It thrives in the hottest, driest months when every other salad green has bolted and become bitter. It grows itself in every garden on Earth without invitation or assistance. The health food industry sells omega-3 supplements derived from algae for reasons of supply chain convenience. Purslane offers the same fatty acids right now in your garden, entirely free. Item 4. Lamb's quarters, Chenopodium album. Here is a plant with 8,000 years of human consumption behind it. Seeds recovered from Neolithic archaeological sites across Europe confirm it as a dietary staple long before agriculture fully replaced foraging that most American gardeners spray without hesitation every spring. Lamb's quarters, also called white goosefoot, is identifiable by the distinctive dusty white coating on the undersides of its leaves and growing tips. The leaves contain more protein than spinach, more calcium than dairy by comparable serving weight, and extraordinary concentrations of vitamins A and C. The flavor is mild and earthy, somewhere between spinach and Swiss chard, without the sharpness of either, and it cooks beautifully in any application calling for spinach. The seeds, produced in enormous quantities on mature plants, are nutritionally comparable to quinoa. Health food brands sell quinoa at premium prices. Lamb's quarters, its wild nutritional equivalent, Self-seeds prolifically across America without any human assistance whatsoever. Item 5. Chickweed, Stellaria media. Chickweed is one of the first plants to emerge after winter, carpeting bare soil in early spring with its soft, tangled mats of tiny oval leaves and star-shaped, white flowers, so small they seem almost accidental. The flavor is mild enough to eat by the handful raw, fresh, clean, and faintly grassy, requiring nothing more than olive oil and salt to be genuinely good. In Japan, chickweed is one of the 7 spring herbs of Nanakusa, eaten ceremonially each January in a rice porridge honoring the New Year's first fresh food. That is not a minor folk tradition. It is a centuries-old cultural acknowledgement that chickweed is worth celebrating as food. Rich in vitamin C, iron, calcium saponins, studied for cholesterol reduction, it was a traditional scurvy remedy across northern Europe through the long months without fresh produce. The plant most gardeners rake off their beds every March is, in every country that has thought carefully about wild food, considered a gift. Item 6. Wood sorrel, Oxostocterae. Tiny, clover-like, and hiding in almost every garden path and lawn edge in America, wood sorrel announces itself with one of the most immediately surprising flavors in the backyard world: clean, bright, and sharply citrusy, like lemon compressed into a leaf the size of a thumbnail. The flavor comes from oxalic acid, the same compound responsible for rhubarb's tang, and in wood sorrel's small quantities it is simply delicious. Medieval European cooks made green sauce from it, a preparation served alongside fish that persisted in British and French cooking for centuries. In Ireland, it is a strong candidate for the original shamrock used by St. Patrick to illustrate the Trinity. Michelin-starred restaurants across Europe now pay premium prices for microwood sorrel as a plate garnish. It is growing in your garden path right now, uninvited, unrecognized, and entirely free, offering a natural citrus note that brightens any dish it touches. Item 7. Plantain, Plantago major, not the tropical fruit, the humble low-growing rosette appearing in every compacted lawn and driveway edge, where soil has been walked on too hard for anything more. Delicate. Indigenous peoples of North America called broadleaf plantain white man's footprint because it followed European settlement wherever it spread. A plant so adaptable, it colonized a continent by following the people who considered it a nuisance. Its documented medicinal use spans 1st century Greek physicians, every major European herbal from the medieval period, and at least 2,000 years of Chinese traditional medicine. The active compounds, aucubin, a documented anti-inflammatory glycoside, and allantoin, a skin cell regenerating compound, appear in numerous commercial wound care and cosmetic products at significant cost. The ribwort plantain's seed spikes are a source of psyllium, the active ingredient in commercial fiber supplements sold in every pharmacy worldwide, derived from the plant growing free in your lawn. Item 8. Hairy bittercress, Canamen hirsuta. If you have ever grown anything in a pot, a raised bed, or a garden border, you have almost certainly encountered hairy bittercress, the small, rosette-forming annual that appears as if from nowhere, flowers before you notice it, and catapults its seeds with such mechanical precision that attempting to weed it out after flowering is entirely futile. What almost no one who wages this losing battle knows is that hairy bittercress is completely and immediately edible, right from the plant, with no preparation whatsoever. The flavor is bright, peppery, and genuinely pleasant. A miniature version of watercress, with the same family relationship to wasabi and horseradish that gives it its characteristic kick. Scatter it on a bowl of soup the way you would use cress. Add it to sandwiches for a peppery bite. Toss it into salads where its small size and strong flavor make it perform like a living seasoning. The weed you cannot get rid of turns out to have been seasoning your garden all along. Item 9. Ground elder, Agopodium podagraria. Ground elder is widely considered one of the most infuriating weeds in temperate horticulture, re-establishing from the smallest root fragment left in the soil, spreading under paths and through barriers with cheerful determination, defeating every removal effort a gardener attempts. It is also, in the window of early spring, before it flowers, genuinely delicious. Introduced to Britain by the Romans specifically as a food and medicinal plant, cultivated in monastery gardens throughout the medieval period as a pot herb and a gout remedy, ground elder's young leaves carry a fresh, carrot-like herbal flavor that works beautifully in soups, pestos, and egg dishes. It substitutes perfectly for parsley in any recipe. Blended with olive oil, garlic, lemon, and nuts, it produces a pesto indistinguishable in quality from basil, a fact that transforms the relationship between gardener and weed almost completely. Harvest it before pulling it. The most satisfying revenge in horticulture. Item 10. Fat Hen, Chenopodium album, Mature Plant. Our journey ends where human food history arguably began, with a plant so ancient in its relationship with human diet that its seeds have been found in the stomach contents of Talon man, the bog body preserved in Denmark for over 2,000 years, confirming it was being eaten as a grain and a green at the same time. Fat hen is the same species as lamb's quarters, but here we focus on the mature plant's extraordinary seed production, which can reach 75,000 seeds per plant in a single growing season. These seeds, processed like grain, have fed human populations across Europe and Asia since the Neolithic period. The flavor is mild and slightly nutty, the nutritional profile comparable to quinoa in protein and amino acid content. Modern researchers working on food security and sustainable agriculture have identified fat hen as one of the most promising underutilized grain crops available for low-input farming systems. The future of sustainable food may be a plant you pulled out of your vegetable bed this morning. 10 weeds, all of them edible. Most of them more nutritious than the cultivated vegetables we spent money on and drove to the store to buy. The knowledge gap between what these plants are and what most people believe them to be is not a gap in the plants themselves. It is a gap in what we were taught to see when we looked at the ground. Every generation that foraged, every community that survived on what the land offered freely, every traditional urbanist who walked a field margin and came home with dinner understood something that the modern world has spent decades unlearning. The yard is not empty. It is growing. Which of these weeds are already in your garden? Have you tried eating any of them? Tell us in the comments. We want to know what you found. If this episode changed the way you look at what is growing around your home, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is about to spray their dandelions. This is Evergreen Home Living, signing off.